Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to look at a few bird effigies and some face stones as well. Found a few of these sitting right here, little depictions of ducks, as you can see. We have a few more here. These are the common bird stones or blades that we find out here. It's a very common artifact, this shape. You can see how they gave little character to these stones. This stone here is a good example of how to view the art. So here we have the nose, and what you do with this is you tilt it to where the face becomes proportioned, and you can see how it's looking away from us. There's little birds on here. Here's another one. If you look closely at the paint lines, the round head, the beak, when you tilt it just right, you see how it resembles a bird head. When you flip the stone this way or other ways, see how it starts to change form. There's probably a duck head here. You see how the beak becomes curved. So we're in North Carolina, Alamance County. And I'd like to show you a few more of these. So let's take a little bit of a walk down here. Something that I'm finding in this area is that the stones have carvings of giant spear points on them. There's a very excellent statue here that I can give you a quick sneak peek of. This is the back of the hair. You can see how that looks like the back of a head there. And when you tilt it, there's going to be just the littlest portrait in the crystal that comes out there. It's a little abstract or obscure. And that's the style of the art here. Again, another portrait here. Of course, you can see the inclusion in the stone left for the eye. These are what we call the gateway examples, which are painted white crystals. There's several of them here, and I want to show you just a few of them that I saw up here that I'd like to share with you. But we'll do a little exploring on the way as well. Beautiful shards of crystal here, and you can see all these hash marks on there. X's oftentimes, and then these little portraits put on here. You have to be careful when handling these. You don't want to slam them around, bang them into each other too much, because you will damage them. Of course, you guys are seeing the carving for the eye, the nose, the mouth, recessed face with his hat, his cone hat on. Every single stone in this creek has one of those. These crystal ones that you see are the ones that most of us here in the modern world can see. So I have one to show you down here. Let's go ahead and take a walk. And you can actually see it from here. You see right in the center of the screen, there's that carving on top of that stone shaped like a big spear point. That's where we're headed. I want to give some shout outs to some subscribers and fellow community members. First, I want to shout out Gabriel Griffin, who's doing a lot of work up in Ohio and is constantly live streaming. He's found some really incredible artifacts recently. He always does, though. I'm going to shout out City Rock Hounding. He's been very supportive, even though he wasn't really quite sure about the art at first. Looks like he's coming around, and that's a beautiful thing to see. Looks like one of those cement conglomerates, but it could be modern. Not exactly sure. More than likely it's modern. There's a duck head. And it gets pretty deep up here, but there's some large stones in the back there. So let's go and take a little walk. This is unexplored territory for me. So we're just gonna be exploring together and taking a look at what we see. So as a recap of this site, all the artifacts are about 6 feet underground. And a recent construction project in this area has caused this creek to overflow and flood the forest, fill the river with oil at one point, and styrofoam. But that's how all these stones ended up out and exposed, and that's why a lot of them are still painted and not damaged, is because they were all recently brought up. You guys have seen the painted pictures on the crystals. And this is the place that all those come from. So I'd like to get some water boots and just go in the water. It's definitely hot enough to just jump in. However, I don't have any water boots right now. We have some hunting stands here. And I do need to stay in the water, or at least very close to it, because we are on private land right now. And the water is, of course, belonging to the state. So, just a little tip for you artifact collectors out there. No one owns the water. Oh, sorry for our focus there. There we go. These little weird characters. And of course our heart-shaped birds. This is a kind of a rough one. I see what it is. It's the big bird with the beak kind of looking behind it. It's definitely an eerie one. So we're still sending out emails to the North Carolina DCNR, Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. We have a few more contacts. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit for us here. A few more contacts. Found some people who are trying to stop the destruction over there at Cedar Creek that work for the NCDNCR. And so I'm hoping that they'll be able to point us in the right direction on how to proceed, because it seems like they actually care and they're working. So I'm excited to hear about that. That's all we really want here, is our archaeologists who take our money, both in the colleges, universities, and in the state. We'd like them to pick up the torch here and take over, so that we don't have to do it anymore. Beautiful section. Lots of very large stones here. It's a pretty neat side of the forest here. So Budcat7 on YouTube, he's also doing research, public research for the community and posting it. So be sure to check him out. Good prismatic shard. That's a mighty fine one right there. Sorry for our focus here. Let's go ahead and get that straightened out. There we go. So these prismatic shards are giant blades, as you can see. They're oftentimes shaped like birds. This is actually a very beautiful example. You can see the large blade on that. And you can hold it as if it is a knife. There's going to be a few here. On the right-hand side, let's go ahead and get our focus. Sorry again. On the right-hand side there, you can see how, well, it's a little muddy, but there's a bird in there with that hook bill. See how that beak is hooked? There we go. And of course, we have stones from all over the world here. I believe I'm going to keep this blade. I like it. It's very lightweight as well. These plaquettes are all over. Sometimes they can be used as cooking tools. You can put it on top of a fire and cook a fish or something on it. Another great blade. Debarker. Fantastic blades out here. Nice spear point right there in the water. Let's take a look at it. Spear point, hand axe. You can see that edge. This is how we do things in North Carolina. This side will have the bird on it, as always. The right-hand beak and the details for the eye in there. You might be able to see an X. We have this beautiful table that nature provided us that we should use. So there's going to be the bird on this side here and an additional bird on this side. This is the way that they are shaped. Let's go back and get our other blades and we'll stick them on top here. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm a little warm. I am inspired by everyone in the community doing great work, and it really encouraged me to come back down here. So thank you guys for encouraging me, motivating everyone not just me, but there's a lot of people that are suddenly waking up to all this because we're showing them. And they're going out into their creeks and rivers and finding the same things. And I think it's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. There's a lot in this creek. And it's turned into a little bit of a gravel bar here with less rocks because the flow here is a lot less. It's not near the construction site, so you can see how water's much more calmer. And I could just jump right in this right now. It's so hot. Whew. 93 today in the Raleigh-Durham area. Too much further and I am going to be getting into someone else's property knowingly, so might go ahead and turn around here in a second. But take a quick look in the water and see if we see anything super interesting. I see some points. I see a big shard here. See it? That big point, that big. Let's go ahead and get him, see what he looks like. There's a few of them. Let's go ahead and grab this one first. Here we have another blade. Prismatic shard. There's a great little face on the bottom. You can start to see the eye and the details for the eye in the sun there. This is an elongated skull. It's just one of many faces that are going to be on this. When we flip it over, you see the same carvings for the same eyes and nose. Get them in the sun a little bit so you can see it maybe a little better. See the edge on it. Normally these are flat on one side, beveled on the other. And oftentimes they're shaped like birds. All right, this guy is a very large one. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. Oh my. What do we have here? So we're seeing the nose, the mouth, and the eye of a character or a person. It's a beautiful rounded stone. I really enjoy this portrait right here. Whenever I'm moving these around, I try to do so as carefully as I can because I don't want them to break. And it's a privilege to be able to share this with you guys. So thank you for joining me for it. You can see how this large totem is shaped. And what you do with these totems is you stick them in the ground and you activate them. But you can stick this in the ground so that the person's face is sticking up. It's maybe a marker. I can go ahead and show you here how that works. It's incredible. Quite incredible. This is a beautiful one. Another really neat one. Different color, different style stone. Extremely heavy. You can see all the cuts and how it's flattened and notched. Yep. Very beautiful. As you guys know, we don't have to go far. We can pretty much just sit here and pick up all these ancient artifacts anywhere. I don't know what this is. It's a conglomerate of some sort, just shaped in a big triangle. Has a bit of a notch. Looks to me, if you didn't know any better, you'd say that this is modern. Very well could be, but what I've learned out here is to never expect anything. You never know what you're gonna get. There's a gateway here. Painted crystal. High level stones. Stones from all over the country. Crystals, jaspers, agates. Kind of missing out on light here just a bit. Sorry about that. We'll find some better light in a new spot here. There's just so much here though. All these nap tools. Hand axes and things. So what we're seeing here is a depiction of a mammoth. If you look closely, you can see the eye, the trunk of the mammoth. The whole mammoth is positioned in this stone. There more than likely is a trunk on the right-hand side as well. I can see that you can see that it just looks like a rock. I understand that. But once you learn the art, you'll see it as well. It's a level of detail that we're just not used to looking at. Bird heads, gems, bird points, all kinds of little effigies throughout. There's so many little small ones. We could spend all day looking at those. There's a gravel bar up here, so let's go ahead and move to a different location and check this location out. So this is the first of 2 videos that's going to be posted today. This will probably be the longer one. Lots of fish, that's good. There's some beautiful artwork under the water there that I see. This one's calling me. Of course, the large ones are always calling me. I'd like you to see the napped or carved edge on this. Ooh, it is a giant blade, bird, and of course human. Incredible. Some of these are very large. It's an extremely heavy one. Sorry about our focus here. There we go. Yelling mouth character is very common. You're able to see the circle and the brow, see the diamond and the eye there. The lighting isn't perfect, but I'm trying to reflect it for us. Here we go, folks. Sorry about the focus today. I'll try to get that fixed for the next video. So there's still gateways here. That's what we're really here to find. For people who aren't able to see the art yet, the only way that they can see them is with the photorealistic portraits that are painted on these crystals. So finding these crystals is key. It's a beautiful bird effigy here. And what we're looking at, of course, is the curved round head, silhouette of a bird head, as you see there. And if you look closely where the eye should be, you might even be able to see some of the paint still. I'll show you the edge once again. Beautiful duck. So the recessed beak, the line for that recession right there, the duck's eye. More than likely the duck is pointing upward, and there's going to be a human portrait here facing to the left. Another character there. When you're able to see the art after a few weeks of study, the eyes of these will pop right out at you. And so once you're able to see the eyes, you'll be able to pick up where the rest of the art is. But as you can see, every single stone that I pick up has the shape of a bird, the beak on the right-hand side on this one. There's a beautiful carving there. You can see that. Very deep and defined for the eye. This is a great bird effigy. Classic design, classic style for a classic people. There's another great sharpened stone with some images on it. You might be able to notice the smiley face. It's not pareidolia, and if it is, then that's what the ancient people had as well. You may wonder, why do some people see faces in clouds? Well, it's because they evolved with this art. They were indigenous to somewhere. Every single person, every one of you listening, had ancestors that used stone tools. This is the Birdman, probably. If you're walking on two legs today, your ancestors used stone tools. Well, that's a rock hound's nightmare there. Is that green? Oh, that's that green glass, y'all. That's the special kind of Coca-Cola glass, the green glass. Valuable, I think, if found in one whole piece. But you know, Dr. Crystal Cavalier, 7 Directions of Service, pointed that out one day, and I've held on to it. I really think it's an important thing for people to remember, that their ancestry goes back to the point where we were not even walking on two legs. We have an unbroken chain of life since the beginning of time. Yep, my bad. You know, I'm pretty hard on myself about how I do this, but I believe I need to be. I think of it as a privilege to be able to come out here, so I try to do my best to respect and honor these artifacts. That's the whole reason why we're doing this, right? So the long nose poking out when we tilt it becomes less exaggerated and more normal. Let's get that focus, guys. I'm going to be in fisheye for the next video, and that'll fix those focus issues I'm having. There's a recessed beak on the left-hand side, more than likely. Some of these are very complex and hard to see. This is a beautiful one. There's a mammoth on the right and a human on the left with the chin right there, as you can see. If you guys can give me some help on interpreting that one. I love the way the eye comes out round when you look underneath it there. Remember how that eye looks. Turn the stone. You can see this. When you are able to see the art very well, you'll start to notice that there's hair and braids, all kinds of details. It's a learned style of art, and I imagine it does use our imaginations, but it also uses details in these stones that people just, myself included, were completely oblivious to until we started looking at this art. Let's go ahead and pull up this last blade. There's another prismatic shard here. There's several. Of course, they're all over. But, you know, I try to show evidence while I'm here. So common archaeological evidence, so that we can get our fellow rockhounds, our fellow arrowhead collectors on board here. Again, flat and then beveled on this giant spear point, made by the ancient Americans. The ancient people of North America. Maybe a better way to say it. So I don't want to let you go right now, but I'm gonna, so that I can move on to another video here and move on to a different section of the river. So I bid you all adieu. Have a great one. And thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.